Welcome back, and after such a long time as well. We're back in London, as you can see, although it'll only be probably for a fairly short visit, because with the second wave coming, I think we'd certainly be safer in Scotland. So, what are we going to do today? Well, this is going to be a slightly different video in the sense that I'm going to talk about, excuse me, that time when we come up to death, we've cleaned ourselves, and we reach non-dual consciousness and a transcendent state. This, you remember, is the work of Monica Rentz, and it's been validated in a number of cases. Well, I think about between 80 and 150 people who have died, that this is the final state they get into if they've cleaned themselves satisfactorily. And you remember what cleaning is. It's giving up your attachments. And you also will remember that we talked about a shroud having no pockets, so you cannot take anything with you. Well, way back in the mists of the early posts, I was talking about a man called Jeffry Martin, who I think is going to turn out to be one of the most important men on this planet. Because what he has done is he has looked into those people who awaken, and we now know what that means, and become non-dual. And his book, The Finders, which I've talked about before, is a very important book if you're interested in awakening. Should you be interested in awakening? That's just for some strange people. No, it's not like that. It comes with the desire to understand consciousness fully. More important, understand who you are. So, awakening is an important thing to try and get your head around if you can, and work towards also if you can. Now, I don't think I mentioned last time that there are the Finders courses that Jeffry Martin runs, and I've been on one of these courses. It was Finders number 6. It was a long time ago, and so his research work has gone on enormously since then. And because he's had so many people going through, about 70 to 80% awaken, or become non-dual. He has a very good idea of those sorts of things which we need to do in order to become non-dual. But he's also going through another development, and that is that he would very much like to make his courses available, not for sort of $2,000 or $3,000, but very short courses, helped by the alumni of some of his other courses, for about £100, although he tells me that this may be going up in the near future. So there's a slot now for those of you who really, really want to awaken, and you got the idea of the really, really want, and you can then take one of his courses, and the one I would recommend is in fact his 45-day challenge to awakening. 45-day challenge to awakening. And that course is amazing. I've just completed it, in fact. Did I enjoy it? Yes, very, very much indeed. Did I awaken? Certainly, in some senses, yes. At any rate, I have a much better understanding of what awakening is, and that allows me to understand consciousness much better, and that allows me to understand who I am very much better. So I would recommend that those people who are interested in consciousness, interested in who they are, particularly in themselves, in their true selves, that they sign on to Jeffrey's course, 45-Day Challenge to Awakening. If you can really awaken in 45 days, wow, is that amazing? Do you remember, those of you who've been in the field, you will know that many of the old spiritual masters said this would require several lifetimes. Well, that has a lot of assumptions in it, and one of them is one's going to come back for several lifetimes. When you come back, you're going to want to go on with this process of awakening. So now we're here, now we have a life, and now we have an opportunity to do this. The reason why I'm so thrilled by this is that I think a large base of people who are non-dual is going to change the world. Why? How could they possibly change the world in a different way? Well, it's like this. First of all, they know at a very deep level that they're okay. You're okay. I don't know how many of you, when you look into yourselves, know that you're all right, but on those who have awakened, you're okay. That's just it. Second thing is that you lose your self-referential thoughts. That means that all those thoughts that really are based in you. I don't like her. I like this. She's not nice to me. He's awful to me. She's fantastic. You know, those sort of thoughts. They all go. And good riddance to them too, because they take up a lot of our time. So then the next thing is that there are various locations, he calls them, that you can awaken into. The first is a fairly simple one. The second one is really good for working in this world because you just do what's in front of you. Remember, no self-referential thoughts means, am I doing this well? Am I not doing it well? That sort of thing. It isn't that. You just do it. And then you come to stage 3, which is location 3, which is much more the one I'm at, where you get very wide transcendent feelings. And Jeffrey, in his study, has found that people who are in location 3 have feelings, divine feelings of the universe, transcendent feelings, really. Yeah, do I like transcendent feelings? Yes, of course. Most of us do. And this is one way for being in that area. Now, whether one will stop in that location or go on to higher locations, only time will tell. So again then, this is Jeffry Martin's 45-Day to Awakening course. I'm really pleased to be able to devote this broadcast to it because I think it's so important. And what I would recommend you do is put it into Google and then put your name on a waiting list and find out how much it's going to cost. About £100 is its cost now. And I think all of you who do it will enjoy it. And I would very much like to hear from you after you've done it, and particularly if you feel that you've awoken and understand what non-dual consciousness means. Well, that is what I'm going to do for this podcast. The next one, which I will start in a few minutes, take a little longer for that before it comes out, is on the vexed question. And I was just wondering if it should even be a vexed question. A lot of people make it very vexed. as to whether or not there is an afterlife. Now, this is just going to depend on the scientific data. I mean, you can fall into three groups. I believe there's an afterlife. Okay, well, that's great. I don't know if there's an afterlife. Well, okay. And there is not an afterlife. Now, that's the only category, I think, where you notice I didn't say that's okay, because I would like you to add, I know there's not an afterlife because I've looked at all the data, and there is nothing in the data, having looked at it, which makes me think that there may be a continuation of consciousness in some form. When we talk about an afterlife, we're not talking about an afterlife of the body, obviously, because that dies. No, it's the internal structure of yourself, some of which may, in fact, be universal. Now, the question there is, how can I be universal? Well, those of you who have had non-dual experiences or transcendent experiences will know that you are, and you'll use that as your base. I suppose it's like Lawrence van der Post. He was asked by somebody, do you believe in God? Now, he's had a lot of very wide experiences, and he said, better wait for the clock, I think. And he said, it's no longer a question of belief, I know. And that's once you've had the experience of what non-duality is, what transcendence is, etc., then you know. Okay, well, that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll be back with this question of, is there an afterlife or not? Those people who've been non-dual will probably say, just like Lawrence van der Post, of course there is. I know. Okay. Keep well. Stay safe. For heaven's sake, please stay safe. And we'll be back, I hope, with Casper, if you'll deign to show us his presence in the next podcast. Okay. Bye for now.